anything except one type of game, and right now that's first-person shooter. So
Yeah.
every game's trying to
Be just
appeal
like
to
that.
those people, and they're upsetting the true fans of the franchise because they're not delivering a better experience for them because they're too focused on other things.
And
So
the standard of every first-person shooter, what they all try to mimic is the way how Call of Duty does things. Like it's like that's like the
it's the standard
Yeah.
that we have to follow. It's we kind of follow this rubric, like this is everything we want, and then we're going to make these changes, put our spin on it, and it's not really going well.
So that's basically the PS4 and the Xbox One in a nutshell. It's really a crap ton more. I can really go into specifics and details, but we'll be on these consoles forever if I really.
Yeah, no, you could have a million different videos all separate from each other, covering everything you want to on these consoles. There's just way too much there.
Exactly. So on to Walking Dead. Now, Walking Dead came out earlier during this month. I believe the first week of March. I forgot the exact day. Episode 2. I'm a gigantic fan of it, so you know I had to purchase that day one. I have to know what happens next. But you feel differently about people like me who go out and buy the game on day one for $5. Why do you feel that way?
Well, for $25. Yeah, no, I'm the person that waits for it to come down to $5. I feel that way because the way that Walking Dead is set up is that you're gonna have, I think, a minimum of probably 5 episodes, and then each episode has a minimum of like 5 chapters. I could be wrong. I think in the first season some episodes had like 6 or 7 chapters. I can't remember. But
you mean chapters within the episode?
Within
or are you
the
talking
episode,
about,
yeah,
just episodes in general?
No, the episode, like there will be 5 episodes for one season. There's 5 episodes, and then in each episode you have multiple chapters.
Okay, okay. Yeah,
so,
you're right.
Basically, when you buy the game day one, you only have one episode of what I'm just gonna assume there's 5. Let's say there are 5 episodes. You only have access to one. As soon as you finish that, which if you're a hardcore gamer, you'll probably finish it in like a day or so, and then you have to wait a couple months in between to get to the next episode. Now, this is like in your case, this is what you had to do, right? You have to wait until I think the newest one came out this month.
Right. It's so annoying.
So now you have episode 2. For me, what I'm going to do is just wait until probably the Steam summer sale, which starts around mid-July. And if all the episodes are out at that point, I'll probably just get it then, and I'll probably pay like between $6 and $10 for the whole season, and I'll be able to play it all back to back. And that's the way that I would like to play the game. As soon as I finish one episode, I want to move to the next. When I finish that, I want to move to the next. And the problem is I'm paying a much cheaper price. Granted, I have to wait until all the episodes are out, but I mean, at the same time, so do you. You still have to wait until all the episodes are out to play them as well.
You get a cheaper price point because you waited and got the bundle. Okay.
I waited and I paid cheaper. And I know that some people take it and they kind of disagree with what I'm saying because they're like, well, that's basically like, well, they look at it like you're basically waiting for a Game of the Year edition. And Game of the Year editions usually are still the same price as the original, but you have to wait about a year until they come out. But the way that The Walking Dead is themed is that it's already making you wait for these episodes. So it's almost like, from your standpoint, and this is all my opinion, but from your standpoint, it's like you're still buying the Game of the Year edition. You're getting nothing different, but you still have to wait for it. So it's just mind-boggling to me why they do it this way. I don't understand why they don't just... They need to change something. Otherwise, I don't see why most people don't just wait for the sale. I think it's kind of a slap in the face to you who you love the game so much you're buying it day one because you want to know what happens next, but then they make you wait months in between. It's just a huge problem in my eyes. I really don't get it.
Well, what they could do instead of, I guess you got a point. Instead of spreading it out and giving you like chopped off pieces of a whole story they're trying to tell, what they could do is just sell it for $20 and give you all 5 episodes in one, just poof, one shot. So that when you play the game, you beat it, you're done. I guess they could do it that way, but I don't know. Maybe it's from a business perspective. Maybe they do it this way. They give you a little taste to see how you like it, and then how people are. Oh, this is some good. Let's just say it was a drink. Oh, this is a really great drink. You'll tell a friend, and then that friend will tell a friend, and that friend will tell a friend, so forth and so on. But then again, you can still do that same way by completing the whole game. So.
Right, exactly. Like I don't think that's a bad way. But then you remember, oh, I still have to wait months until this comes out. So then you got all these friends who love the game, and then they're like, hey, we just paid $25, and like, where's the rest of the game? We have to wait, I don't know, between 6 and 7 months for the rest of the episodes to come out. So I don't know. I don't know whether they're still developing it. I don't know if they just want people to get excited for it. And I know some people that completely don't mind, but for me, that's an issue. I want to be able to go right from one part of the story to the next. I want to just keep playing until I'm done with it, and then eventually I might just go back and replay the whole thing.
Yeah, but it's funny. Then your issue should basically translate over to Metal Gear Solid Ground Zeroes, because that's kind of the same way. The only thing about with Metal Gear, since they charge you basically $30 for a demo, will the Phantom Pain be discounted to match the price, so you effectively pay $60 for a full game, or will they basically nickel and dime the hell out of everybody who purchased it, who paid $30 for Ground Zero, and then you'll be getting Phantom Pain for $60, effectively making it basically bonus money off you. Instead of charging $60, they made $90.
I'm gonna look at it as as bonus money, because I don't know everything about Phantom Pain, but what I do know is that Hideo Kojima announced that he thinks he made a mistake and made the game so big that no one's really gonna be able to finish it. And that is a huge statement. Like, this is
nobody's
the first
going to be able to finish it. Like, what does that mean?
This is well, I don't know if those were his exact words, but he did say that he's afraid the game is too big. And being told that a game is too big, I mean, looking at games like Skyrim, they were big. Looking at The Witcher 3, how it's supposed to be bigger than Skyrim, that's pretty big. So to make a statement for the first open world Metal Gear Solid game, to say that it's really big, like it might be too big in Kojima's eyes, I don't know how to feel about that. So I feel like if it is that big, let's say it's on a Witcher 3 level of being open world and having so much stuff to do, that is definitely going to be worth your $60. No ifs, ands, or buts. And I mean, it doesn't justify Ground Zeroes for the price, because I think Ground Zeroes is for the people who really love the Metal Gear Solid franchise. They're going to get it regardless, because it's going to lead up into the Phantom Pain. So I don't think it's if say we get a really big game of the Phantom Pain, if they were to charge that at $30, I'm sure everyone would love it. Everyone would be happy, because everyone loves a cheaper price. But I just don't. I don't see that happening at all.
I really don't.
With the quality and the quantity of what's going to be in the game, supposedly going to be in the game, I don't think they're going to make everyone that happy about charging $30. I just don't think they're going to give that to the people. The Ground Zeroes, it is kind of, from what I've heard, I haven't played it because it's not on PC, and I'm not going to get Ground Zeroes
for a console.
Yeah, I'm not going to get a console just for Ground Zeroes. I'll wait till it comes.
360, so
well, no, I got rid of that thing as soon as I started building my computer. I was like, I'm not going to play this. What is the point? I know, I actually did miss out. I wasted some money on like the Judgment Season Pass for Gears of War. Man, that game was just a mess anyway. But I was just like, I'm not going to play this enough. And actually, I kind of briefly mentioned this earlier. Xbox was like a social thing. Yeah. It was more of everyone was on and we were all playing it, and then we played together. It made the games more fun. But then when that all kind of died down and people didn't play as much, it made more of a reason for me to switch to PC and just kind of do my own thing. But
there's only one issue I have with PC, just one.
What's that?
They don't have Ultimate Marvel. That's my only issue. My favorite game is not on that platform.
I know, that's
the only thing that kills me.
I will mention really quickly that if you do enjoy fighting games, PC, it's kind of been a mixed bag. Some people say that using I don't like using a keyboard, but some people do say that using a keyboard is pretty good for fighting games. I wouldn't know, but some fighting games like Mortal Kombat, like a really big name, and that Injustice game, the multiplayer doesn't work online. So if you like playing against people like I know you do, you're completely screwed for games like that. And that is a huge like I won't support that. Yeah. That's just the gaming industry in general. That's people being lazy. They don't like, this is a game you could play people against online, but they don't even offer it. Like I mean, it's there, but it's broken. You will not find any games, and they have no intention of updating it. I think even for Mortal Kombat, I check sometimes and it's still not there. This game has been on PC since I think around summertime this past year, and they've said that they're going to fix it. There's nothing there.
That makes absolutely no sense. Why do they do that?
No, why they release it just because they want to get money. I mean,
but why half-ass it? Like, what, you get what I mean?
Yeah, no, it makes no sense to me. So, fear to everybody who's interested in those games. But back to Metal Gear Solid. Ground Zeroes, I think, is for people who are interested in the Metal Gear franchise. I think if somebody, let's say that I'm brand new to Metal Gear, I've never heard of it before, and then I see this game and the gameplay looks good. If I were to spend $30 on it and then be able to beat it in a couple hours, I really better have enjoyed that story, and I better be getting a lot from the from the Phantom Pain. Otherwise, I just think I'm going to be disappointed.
Yeah, I mean, don't get me wrong. As far as the game, like when you look at it graphically, it was just phenomenal. Like I was like, wow, this is what next gen is gonna look like.
Yeah,
I was really getting into the story. Like it took me, let's say, on a first playthrough about an hour and 40 minutes because the fact that I don't know where I'm supposed to be going. I'm just kind of figuring around, stealthing around, trying to play the game like I'm supposed to, right? But then when I actually found out, and I'm like, yo, if I start this off from the beginning, I said this is probably taking about 30 minutes. And some people even less. I figure some people just run straight through.
Speed run, right?
Yeah, just speed run through the game. And I was like, it's as effectively 10 minutes. Now, I'm not going to lie, towards the end, once you rescue this person that you got to rescue or whatever, and the cutscene comes in, like, I got hooked in. And then it started getting really good. And then that's it, the end. And I was like, oh, I feel like I got ripped off.
Right, you want more out of it. And
yeah.
It all comes down. It's really, there's some blurred lines because
I wish Konami put it as a demo. I think this is like the amount of content in this game. I feel like it's demo like level. Like they should have just offered it for free. Like here you go, just here's what Metal Gear Phantom Pain is going to be like, and just give you the beginning. The beginning demo could have been intro to the game. That would have been great.
It could have if they or even if they just let's have. And I mean, I don't want to say a whole lot because I don't own the game, so I don't know everything like you do. But if they were to make Ground Zero, say the prologue in the very beginning of the Phantom Pain, like this is the prologue to the game, play this, and then it leads into the Phantom Pain. It's all on one disc. It's all just Metal Gear Solid 5, but the prologue is the entire Ground Zero story. I think that it sounds like that would have been doable. It would have been better.
That depends. To me, I agree with that. Depending if the Phantom Pain will be discounted to accommodate a full game, then I can agree with it. Like if let's just say if Ground Zero is $30 and they, like I said, they charge another $30 to make it like the price of a full game, then I can't complain. Like
right.
But then you and I both know that Konami is not gonna please their customers on that level.
No, they're not.
Yeah.
So it comes down to like what I was saying about what these blurred lines. It comes down to the quality and the quantity. I know that for BioShock Infinite's DLC, which like I almost don't even want to talk about it because I'm so disappointed. But I paid for the season pass, which is $20, and this was last year, and I still don't have Burial at Sea Part 2. So I think we have until the end of March, maybe mid-April, before the season is officially over. So I think it has to come out between them. But Burial at Sea Part 1, I think it took like an hour and a half to beat. And if you bought it just without the season pass, it was $15. Even with the season pass of $20 and I get all the content, I mean, like an hour and a half to 3 hours tops. Yeah, like, I mean, it looked good. Returning to Rapture was fun. And I mean, even the story was kind of okay. But like, for me, it was hard to justify spending that amount of money for that little of gameplay. And I know that brings the quality of what you're getting as opposed to the quantity. Like obviously you want something that has a really good story and you want to be immersed more than let's just have something that's okay but we have like 8 hours of gameplay of it. Right. So that's kind of the same thing with Ground Zeroes. If the story interests me that much, I think it's that good, then it might, like, I still don't know if it doesn't sound like it would justify $30. Yeah. But if
like say even if you would have charged me like maybe 15, I would have probably I wouldn't have been that mad. Like, $15, fine. I would consider like a really good piece of an arcade game or something like that. Like that's like arcade price territory. But for they originally wanted to charge 30, and then for whatever reason they went down. I mean 40, and then they wanted to charge 30.
Right. They went down.
It's just, come on. It's a little too much for
what you're getting
for the amount of content. Yeah, for what you're getting for the amount of content. The quality is pretty much AAA. Like you can definitely tell like this is a AAA title. I'm not knocking the quality. I'm not saying it's a bad game. Just from playing this a little bit, I definitely want to buy the Phantom Pain. Like I said, I suck at stealthing. That has nothing to do with me wanting to play the game. I just end it for the story. The story of Metal Gear has just been really good.
Right. And yeah, it just comes down to preference. It usually always comes down to preference. It always depends on who the person is. There are always going to be people out there who are like, yeah, I'll pay $30 for this because I'm just a fan of the franchise regardless. I'll pay $30 for this because the story is great and the quality, it looks great. Everything's just great about it. It justifies 30. And then you have people like me who are kind of on the line because I'm like, yeah, this is great and I love it, but I just don't think it's worth. Yeah, the price point is not right. It's not there. Definitely. And I know there's a huge thing going on right now with Titanfall. I don't want to talk about Titanfall too much, but that is one of the things that's being argued with Titanfall, people are saying that the content is not enough to justify $60, especially because it's a multiplayer only game. And I just I don't know how to feel about that. I mean, I thought it was fine, but
it's funny. I kind of agree with you. Like, as far as the first person shooter is concerned, most of the time when I play first person shooter, this is just me. But this is not me defending, whether $60 is the right price, right? I never played the campaigns for any of my first person shooters. Not Battlefield, not all of Call of Duties I've earned all these years. And Titanfall, if it had a campaign, unless it's only 2 games that are shooters that I actually played the campaign for, and that was Gears of War because it was really good, and Halo because I was interested in the story. Other than that, everything else is just like, it just was there. But the true star of the game was the multiplayer. So I'll just hop straight into the multiplayer and completely ignore the campaign.
And that's what a lot of people do.
Yeah. So for Titanfall, when they said, there's no campaign, I was like, hey, well, it never me no man. I don't think they would have intrigued me enough to want to play anyway. So I just felt like I was just going to go online and just straight play the game. So it didn't bother me that there was no campaign. Technically, there is a campaign, though. But it's not a traditional
it's just not
campaign.
It's not your standard campaign. And what I've always said is, like, if you want to make a single player only game, which there are plenty of, and people seem to forget that, that's fine. The story, the game itself just has to be good. Same thing with multiplayer. I don't care if it's multiplayer only, which is basically what Titanfall is, as long as it's good, and it is. Like, I'm satisfied with it. Of course, I mean, it's not the greatest thing ever. It still has its own
the second coming
problems.
Of first-person shooters, what people
but
make it seem to be.
It still has problems, but it's what some of the people are saying about it, and I'm so sick of seeing comments saying, like Infamous, like, oh, it's only single player, not buying it. Titanfall, it's only multiplayer, not buying it. Like, they want both.
You can't satisfy people, right?
you can't, and people are just idiots. But the whole what kind of content are we getting? Does the price justify it? It's always arguable, no matter what the game is. Titanfall, like, I don't know what kind of price point I would put on it. I haven't really thought about it, but I'm satisfied with everything except for the campaign. I didn't like the campaign at all. It was just, I think everyone can pretty much agree, it's just a normal consensus now that the campaign was just bad. Everyone respects it for what they tried.
Exactly. I respect. I like the way they tried something different. I like the attempt at it, but it didn't work out right.
It didn't fall through.
I can't. It's just it's not holding my attention at all. I could care less what's going on.
And you can't even pay attention.
Exactly. I'm too busy, hopping on buildings, parkouring all over the place, having these epic Titan battles to pay attention. Like, what are you talking to me about? You get what I mean? Like,
yeah, it's you either should have not had anything at all, or you should have had you should have had just your typical story, like a Halo storyline, even like a Call of Duty storyline, something that lasts a couple of hours, explains what you're doing, why you're there, the characters. It makes you more immersed in the game. So it's almost like they tried to do that through the online, which I respect, but there were just way too many things wrong with it. We didn't know why we were fighting. We don't know who these people are that are talking to us.
All I know is IMC and militia are fighting for whatever reason.
That's basically it. And you could have known that even if you didn't have a campaign. So it was a good idea. It was a nice try, but hopefully we see something fixed.
Now, I have my small, tiny gripes about it, like I would say more rather constructive criticism. So basically, if there's a sequel, if Respawn Games hear me out and hear out this podcast, and they take these into account, Titanfall 2 can be freaking even on more of an epic scale than what this original Titanfall is. Like, say for example, after playing so much Battlefield 4, let's just call it Patchfield 4, because Battlefield has a lot of technical problems. Despite all those problems, I still love that game. Yeah, there you go, Battlefield, Patchfield, same thing. I love that game, and that game has so much to offer, and it's so competitive, and it's just so in depth as far as like what you can do. I just fell in love with it, especially coming from being a Call of Duty player and from that franchise.
Right. Now, it's a nice thing to go to, and it definitely is an improvement. And
I love the I absolutely love the destructibility. Like, it just makes it where you have to constantly be in action, and it makes it real hard to camp. It's like almost nowhere to safely camp. That's what I love so much about Battlefield. And I thought that something like destructibility should have been implemented in Titanfall, because I feel like playing Titanfall is like, I feel like I'm in a Gundam, like Gundam Wing. I used to watch that as a child. So I feel like these giant mechs, I should be able to just be destroying buildings, but not like in a cheap way where I can just destroy things really easy. Like, obviously you have to give certain structures some durability, so that way the Titan have to earn to break it down, but then it'll make pilots a little bit less campy. Because despite what people say, or I had some debates and forums, stuff like that, oh, some people say, oh, the bots stop you from camping. I'm like, really?
The bots?
Bot?
No.
I was like, how can a bot stop you from camping?
No.
You can have 4 bots aim directly at you, and you can just strike left. Don't even shoot at them. Just strike left, right, left, and they won't kill you. So I'm like, how does that stop you from camping?
No,
you gotta just walk up to them, kick them, and continue to camp.
The only thing that stops people from camping, and I have seen some people do it, and I'll explain how in a second, but the only thing that stops people from camping in this game is the fast-pacedness, if that's a word, of this game. This game is a run and gun, so it's not about camping. Of course, people can climb on top of buildings. That's one of the ways that they camp. If you play Domination, there are always people who kind of camp in the corner of wherever the hard point is, but
and
even that is
it's
nothing compared to what I've been seeing in Call of Duty. It's not even on the same level. I don't know if that'll change in the upcoming months. I really hope it doesn't, but this is just not that kind of game where you want to sit still. So there are, of course, people coming from Call of Duty. That's their style.
Yeah,
so
they're
going to play that way.
Over.
But I mean, eventually, hopefully, it dies out. But it, oh man, I had something. You brought up one thing that I was going to say. Oh yeah, the idea of destroying buildings and stuff.
Yeah.
Now that is something. It's hard to do this with a game, and I know that a lot of people are doing it with Titanfall. They're kind of judging it on what it could have and should have had, as opposed to what it has and what it is exactly. And I even do that a little bit, but things like better customization, it probably should have been there, but it wasn't. And things that even like personal things for you love the whole idea of Battlefield and the destructiveness. That is definitely that's something that I would want in Titanfall. But the realistic side of it is, hey, this game wanted to do a job. Like, it is a brand new IP. It wanted to put itself out there, and I think it did with the fast-paced parkour part of the game. There are some people who are like, I'll have fun with this game, even if there were no Titans. They would have to have some sort of, I guess, kill streak. But some people don't even run around in their Titans. They just run around and parkour everywhere. They let their Titans
I was gonna say that too.
And they still have fun because this game is the movement of it is great. And then the Titans it's not, I wouldn't say it's added on at all, but for me, I could just run around and parkour, run on walls, and have a good first-person shooter that no other game really has like that. So if I had the destructiveness of Battlefield, that would be awesome. But the realistic side of it is they wanted to put out their vision of a game first, and I think the destructive side would be more likely to come later. Like, they only have a certain amount of time and a certain budget to do exactly what they want. But a destructive part of this game, it would be so much. A destructive part of any game would be so much better. Being able to parkour in any game would make it so much better. So
exactly. You know, it's funny. Like, it'll just made it feel like I'm more of an actual, like, I mean, you already feel like you're in a crazy battle zone because obviously the bots are there and the Titans going on. But like, if I think I'm safe somewhere in a structure and it's collapsing around me, and these gigantic robots are shooting quad missiles and machine guns, I'm gonna feel like, oh, like, it's just gonna make me get a extra hyper overactive.
You're more immersed in the game. It's more real. It's because it's making you less limited to the things that you can do. The whole idea of being able to jump on your friends' Titans and enemy Titans,
and rodeo,
like it's a great idea. It all adds to the feel of the game. And you're really not limited with things you can do. Like, even the only thing you're limited to on the maps, and I mean, you have to have, I guess, some limit of, like, out of bounds, but they really let you explore. You can climb up on these high rooftops. You can climb up on, like, these animal, like, skeleton things, like on the mountain, whatever they have on that dragon level. Yeah. And you can set up there and snipe if you want to, but even sniping in this game is a lot more realistic because people are moving around this huge field and running and jumping everywhere and using, their set of skills, and you're trying to hit them from a higher vantage point. Just everything in this game, it feels more real to me. I feel more connected and more free when I'm moving around than I do in other games. So if they were to add...
your freedom of movement is just...
It's phenomenal. But if you were to add the destructiveness from Battlefield, I think that would just be like icing on the cake. I feel like that would be just... There's no way that would take away from the game at all. It would just completely add to the realism of it and the fun of it.
Right? It would, I got 2 more points to add to that because I'm not... Destructibility is not only 1. But continue. I'm sorry to cut you off.
No, that's it. That's all. That's all I have to say about it. So
all right. I feel that using the Source engine kind of held the game back graphically.
It did.
Yeah.
It did.
It's not the like. Don't get me wrong. I love Left 4 Dead, and Left 4 Dead is one of the ugliest looking zombie games, but it's so much fun that it didn't bother me. Right?
Exactly, and that's Titanfall. That's games in general. I mean, even bringing up Nintendo games, because I play everything on PC, and things I don't play on PC. I bought a Wii U exclusively for the first party Nintendo titles. And those games, like the Wii U, it's basically, I think the hardware specs are similar to last gen, but the games are so fun. I don't care about what they look like,
Yeah,
and
of course.
especially
That's
because
always
the
been
games.
Nintendo's thing.
The games I'm playing are running at 60 frames. They're not running at 30, and they're running at 1080p. That's just kind of like a bonus. The game is fun. It doesn't need to be the best looking game ever, and games prove that point all the time. But Titanfall, because it is it's being released on platforms that are nicer than last gen, like Xbox and PC and all that. It is a little disappointing that they went with an older engine and
Right.
what it could have been, but then we're getting back into the whole point of like what this game could have been. This game could have been a lot better with a better campaign. It could have been better with this and with that. But I mean,
that's just my constructive criticism. I want Respawn Games to hear this podcast and take this in consideration. And when they make a sequel, because obviously I know this game is going to be, I got a feeling this game is going to be successful. Once they put out the numbers of how many copies is sold for the PC and the Xbox One, it's just going to be, it's probably going to be a very high number. I'm just waiting for that number to come out. So I'm just saying, like, I'm not taking the graphics away from anything in the game. The game is fun as hell. Like, I could care less. The graphics will probably look like a PS2 game, whatever. It's still fun as hell. You get what I mean? Like, that's nothing to take away from it. But only thing, like, for a sequel, can you imagine if they somehow use a different engine and make the graphics on a level of a game like Deep Down? Have you seen that at the PlayStation 4 reveal when they showed Deep Down made by Capcom?
I have not seen that. No.
Oh, okay. Well, that game is like when you see it for a next generation game, that is like, yo, that is next gen. Kind of like how Watch Dogs, when it first revealed last year before this visual downgrade they took. Like when you seen Watch Dogs for the first time and during its first reveal, it was like, wow, I was just blown away how great that looks.
It looks good. Yeah.
Yes. Imagine Titanfall 2 looking like that. That would like it doesn't have to do that. Like it can completely ignore that part at all, but it would just add more to the experience.
It would add more, and it would make it what I would call like a true next gen game. I know that I actually in one of my other videos where I was talking about the new Batman game, I was saying it's a true next gen because it's only coming out on those platforms. But I think what also adds to a true next gen game is like what makes it next gen apart from the like the graphics and the frame rate. I can't really think of anything because you can always add more things to a game, like gameplay wise. But when you visually show how far we've come with technology, that's what's selling the like, hey, this is next gen. This is what gaming is going to be. So when you can really show how good things, let me rephrase this, how good something looks graphically, it's a selling point for people because they're like, wow, what is that? Like, what does this look like? So games like The Witcher 3, I love the Witcher franchise, and I was sad to know that it got delayed, but The Witcher 3 looks good. When I look at it,
that's actually a good thing because it may have been a lot of bugs, a lot of technical issues that
and
they need to solve.
I will wait. Yes. Don't give me that. Every game has been doing that. Not just games like Battlefield, not just games like Call of Duty. A lot of games have been doing it. They've been releasing fixes on day one, which is just unacceptable.
That's unacceptable. That's I'm glad a game like Grand Theft Auto 5 also took that route. Instead of April release.
Hey, we'll wait. We know there's gonna be problems.
I'd rather wait. I want that game nice and ready. I don't want to hear any problems when I go purchase.
You're never gonna hear a person say this game's coming out like another year from now. Well, you know what? I'm not gonna buy it. Like no one's gonna. Who does that? You're still interested in the game, whether it comes out now, like a week from now or a year from now. You're still interested in that game.
Exactly.
So you're still gonna get it. But if when I see games like Witcher 3, and I see how beautiful they look, I'm like, man, like I can tell that's a next generation game.
There you go.
So when you see things like Titanfall, yes, it is disappointing. It doesn't take away from the fun aspect of it, but I've noticed when I aim down the sights and I see how choppy things look, I'm just like, man, I don't know. It's something that's disappointing, but it doesn't take away from how fun the game is. It just kind of, you want things to be better looking for a next generation game. So I see, but again, we're in the infancy of next gen, so these things are to be expected.
They're gonna get better. Now, those two things I just mentioned, destructibility and the graphic, I consider those a little nitpicky. Like those are. Those are not necessary. Now, this is one of my personal biggest gripes, and they can either address this with a DLC now, or obviously they can address this in the next generation. But I'm hoping they do it with a DLC, because if they don't, then once this game right now is still in the hype phase. Once the hype phase die down, obviously that's when the competitive stage comes in. If they don't address that competitive need that I have in me, this game is not gonna be here for the long haul for me. But I hate them. I hate them. I hate them. Why isn't there a mode where there are no bots? And people can say, oh, there's pilot hunter mode.
Yeah,
yes, but the bots are still there. And it helps, like, it doesn't help the team score, but it still helps you achieve your Titan. And it's just too easy to farm. I understand they're not there. You can obviously tell they're not there meant to kill you. They're not there to... They're just there to be there. You know what I'm saying? They just exist to give you, like, you're on some epic war battlefield. But I feel like it's something to help more of the casuals rather than the more hardcore gamer. That's what they're there for. And it takes away from the competitiveness of the game. Like, I just don't like it. Like I said, it's an easy, quick fix. Incorporate a mode, no bots, just 6 versus 6, your team versus my team. You know, and it's really like I'm interested in the game. That's it. I feel like the bots give an easy way out for this. Like, let's say like my grandfather or maybe my father who don't really play games, they're not really that great. They'll try it, but you know they're gonna go like maybe 2-20 because, you know, they're not into games and like that. But they like the fact that it's a shooter and they just into it.
They still have fun.
They'll have fun. They won't have any incentive to get better at the game and basically step their competitive level up. That's how I felt about the Infinity Wars in Modern Warfare 3 and Ghost with that support class. I feel like it gave scrubs the incentive not to get better and just like, you know what, whether I suck or not, I'm rewarded regardless. I'm here to have fun, which is, I mean, by all means, you should have fun. You are playing a video game to have fun, but it just, like, more of the hardcore group like me, it just kind of irked guys like in that little, I guess, smaller minority that I have guys on my team who just not really there for the team. They just there to be there, right? When I play and I play in that competitive mode, I want to play to win. Now, like, and this is why I said they should have modes to accommodate for those different types of crowds. You got the casuals who will stick to modes like attrition, where you can just jump in and play. You don't worry about nothing. More casual, you kill a bot, you kill a human, you're accredited no matter what. And they should have a mode like they usually do in hardcore modes in most games for the more competitive style. Kind of like how they have in fighting games. You have rank matches and you have player matches. The rank matches is for the ultra competitive guys who want to fight amongst each other and play very strategic, very competitive. And you got the player match where you just, you know, you can just play to play and it's not as competitive. That's my only gripe right there.
I mean, and this is actually going to be a good point for us because I disagree, but I still see it your way. Like, I always try to do that. I always try to look at other people's perspectives and respect it regardless, even if I disagree with it. But I disagree just because when you play Titanfall and you kind of experience it the way I have, and you see how the bots are here, but it, like, they do their own thing. Of course, they're like, if they were gonna be on a real player level of they're a threat, there's no point in having bots in the first place. So if they were like that, I'd be like, this is stupid. Let's just get some real players. And even if I were to say that now and the bots weren't there, and let's just have real players, it would be nothing but chaos. I really don't even know how enjoyable the game would be, because right now we have 12 Titans on the field regardless. We have 6v6, we have 12 Titans. If we were to have 12 versus 12, then we would have 24 Titans. If we got rid of bots and we made it more like Battlefield, and we had these huge servers, and we had, let's say, 32 on 32, even if we had huge maps to accommodate for it, it would still kind of be chaos. Like, I don't really know how I would feel about it. So, and plus the whole idea of having bots there to kind of hide this whole where's the real player thing, I personally enjoy that. I like being able to single out who's the real person, and it's kind of like a cat and mouse thing of trying to figure out who's a real player. So things like that I personally enjoy, but I don't disagree that the bots are dumb. Like, I think that even for casual gamers, they're you know, it makes them feel good about themselves. They have fun, and what, like you said, when it comes down, that's what we want our games to be about. So I don't disagree with it, but at the same time, I'm the person who I am really competitive, and whenever I've had this curse for years. I'm always in the top 3, but I'm usually the MVP, and I'm not on the level of like team decider because I have this curse. No matter how well I do, I will always lead the team, and I'm on the team that loses, no matter what. I don't know what happens, so I always kind of blame the team, and I look and I see what they did. And when it comes to a more casual game like this, where the people could just be like shooting bots all the time, I'm like, man, like, it's just... It's not as competitive as I would like it to be, but it's still a lot of fun. But yeah, if the next one, say they were to go bigger and they were to have more players, they would have no bots and things like that. I don't think it would be bad, but I don't know. Like, let's say just right now, if we were to have no bots and we were to have more players, the amount of chaos that it would bring, I just don't know how much, I don't know if it would be more enjoyable or less enjoyable. I would say it would probably be less enjoyable for me because I'm just stepping onto a battlefield with nothing but Titans running around, and there's no way to.
They got a mode like that. The Last Titan, I believe, where you just spawn in Titans. And
yeah, you spawn in Titans, and yeah, even a game like that, I've already played that. I've lost almost every single time because people go their own ways. There's no strategy.
Yeah, you need a team. So, I had a team. See, when I play, like I play with a group of people I know. Actually, you probably met them when we played Borderlands back in the days. Yeah, I wrote those same guys, and then we almost won every single match because obviously we're communicating.
You know each other, yeah.
Yeah,
you have a strategy.
That's how you gotta go.
I actually, while we're on the subject of communication, I actually just tweeted and sent a constructive note to Respawn because since I'm playing on PC, the whole push-to-talk thing has got to go. We need to have an option that we can just talk to our team because, especially since I use a gamepad. Well, here, I'll say this first. Even if I'm playing on the keyboard, the fact that there's no option and I have to hold down the Z button in order to communicate, it takes away from the game. It interrupts it. It interrupts my flow. And especially since I play with a controller, like, I don't even want the keyboard near me. So if I have to have the keyboard by my side and press Z every time I just want to talk to my friends, I'm then playing one-handed every time that I say something. It's just completely interrupting. So they did the same thing with Black Ops 2. They need to have an option that you can just leave it on because I mean, what is the point of a mute button if we have to push to talk? I remember somebody
makes no sense, right?
They argued with me before. They were like, "We have to have push to talk because this wasn't a developer or anything. This was just a guy in the game." He was like, "We have to have push to talk because otherwise everyone would just talk and we'd have to hear it and put up with it." I was like, "That's why we have a mute button."
Exactly.
Like, there's
you can
no
mute the player.
Push to talk. You should just have an open line. And if you want to mute people who are being annoying, you mute them. And you talk to everybody else that you want to communicate with. It just drives me crazy. I don't get it.
Well, that's what TeamSpeak is for, right? You know? You can always use that alternatively.
You could, but, like, okay, that's if you know, well, see, for me, I usually try to play with my friends, so we all just hop on Skype or Google+. But if I, like, for my actual team, a group of strangers I don't know, I don't think any of them are going to be like, hey, let's all hop into, like, this thing together. They just want to talk in the actual line. And actually coming from PC, not that many people talk anyway, which is annoying to me. Coming from console, they all type, and it's even more interrupting to sit there and type to your team.
And then try to read it, right? Like it's an RPG type game or MMO.
It's a mess. But that's just me. But I would definitely want, there needs to be some sort of option for push to talk. That's a problem for the PC.
They definitely should. And one more, just to address the bot thing one more time. What you say is true. And I believe there's some truth to what I say. My only thing to solve our both problems, that way it's like no deciding, because you don't have to do the Battlefield thing. Honestly thinking, I don't think 32 versus 32 with Titanfall. I don't think that'll work.
No.
All I'm saying is just simply have attrition, you have team deathmatch, you have hard
certain playlists,
and now you have Super Pilot Hunter. Let's just say that Super Pilot Hunter, no bots. That's it.
No bots.
And problem solved. That's it. Simple as that. Put a mode just for a guy like me, and I have nothing to say about that. That's it.
See, and that's for you. For me, I feel like if that were an option, like, which, I mean, it can't hurt to have options. People are already kind of hating this game on the content of it. So if they were to have that option and I were to play it, then I would compare, okay, how does this feel when there's no bots? Now, what if there, and how does it compare when there are bots in this whole cat and mouse game that I was explaining? How does it compare? Like, I wouldn't really know which I would actually think is better until there was like an option for it. So I do think that they probably, all games usually update the playlist. When they do update the playlist and they add a game that has no bots, if they are to do that, then I'll be able to make a decision there. But I like it the way that it is, and I've come to accept it for what it is, so I can just have more fun. But the bots, I mean, if you were to tell me from day one that, well, they kind of did, that this game has this level of stupidity for their bots to appeal to more casual players, of course, like, no one really wants that, because you do want people to grow and become better at a game. So it's kind of, like you said, it's rewarding people who aren't really going to do as much for your team. But like, I think from day one that's been kind of stupid, and then after I've accepted it and I've seen how it plays with the bots and the whole trying to find the real players, it's not as bad. But I mean, it's not. You won't hear me saying I think every game should be like this. It simply won't work at all. It just won't. So I agree. It's not as big of a deal for me compared to you, but I still overall agree. Bots, they didn't have to be there.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, well, like I said, you can have it. My only thing, like I said, for those, because like I said, I already know the casuals and or slash scrubs. I'm just gonna go ahead and say it because you are people who they just completely flat out suck. They're gonna go for attrition. They're gonna like, you know what? I'm never gonna play this super pilot hunter mode that I just made up. They're never gonna go on that playlist. They're gonna avoid that at all costs.
Yep.
They're never gonna like in Call of Duty, like when you played Search and Destroy. You already know the people who are not good at that mode. They're gonna avoid it. So it's only a minority or a group of people who love that kind of mode because they think it takes more skill and makes you play more strategic. You know
exactly.
What I mean? So then you're gonna have those set of people go on that playlist, and then you're gonna have the common attrition players stay there. That's about it. So other than that, if you want to add more players, I mean, you can test that out as well. Like I said, with the way the Titans work, I'm not sure if adding more than 6 versus 6 would work. Maybe 8. Who knows? They can experiment around. Yeah, they can just test and experiment to see how. Let's make a new playlist, 8 versus 8 or 10 versus 10, and see how that works out. If it don't work out, you can just ignore it. That's all.
I think I'd be more. Well, first of all, I think that both things you just made up with the Super Pilot Hunter, they should both be there because most games they do add new playlists. I know that Halo's done that over the years. They would always add new things like Griffball and other things that they would feature, and they would just stay there as an actual playlist for the rest of the time that people play the game. So I think that they should add both of those modes because then it would appeal to more people like you, and then I would also be able to see what it's like. It would be like a ground war for Titanfall. There it would be more players because I know I don't think Call of Duty has that anymore. But when they had ground war, it was a what was it, like 9v9 or was it 12 or no?
I think it was 9 versus 9, so 18 players, right?
It was something. It's been so long, but yeah, it was bigger. That's all that matters. It was bigger than your typical team deathmatch or domination or whatever. So I think that they should have something like that so that there are more players, and the maps are a pretty decent size, so
yeah, exactly.
They should be able to handle it. But yeah, we won't know how well it. We won't know how well people like it until they do it. I know that they tested and they said that 6v6 was the sweet spot, but they should still offer something like that because you want to appeal whenever you design anything. You want to appeal to the customer, not just you. Exactly. So yeah, they can only benefit from releasing those kinds of game types, those playlists.
Cool. So I guess that's gonna wrap things up. Anything else you want to speak up on?
Not in particular. I think we covered a lot of stuff. We talked about Metal Gear. We talked about Titanfall. We talked about the consoles. The only thing I would add in, I mean, even for Wii U had a terrible launch compared to the other two, at least here in the United States. But I think Wii U is more for Nintendo. I don't want to say fanboys and fangirls. Yeah, exactly. It's for the people who love the Nintendo titles like me, and they're gonna get it regardless. But
there's only to throw in my 2 cents with that. There's only 2 titles that are really big with me as far as Nintendo offers. I can't say the Mario, like the regular platform of Mario's anymore because as an adult, it just presents no challenge to me. And I understand it's really aimed for the younger crowd. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? But Mario Kart is where it's at for me. Well, the last one was horrible. Mario Kart, where they screwed that game up big time. And Smash Brothers, I love Smash.
I knew you were going to say that.
Yes,
yeah,
those are the 2 heavy hitters for me.
That's
Smash
a game
Brothers.
breaker for a lot. Yeah. The new Smash Brothers.
That's a console.
Hopefully, it's going to be fantastic. And I know that there are people out there who will get it even if it's not because they just love Smash Brothers. It's like, how can you not love it? But even the Mario games, like I have to agree. Even with the platformers, they're not as challenging.
Yeah.
They could be more challenging. Hopefully, we'll get more titles like that. But games like 3D World, it's new and it's it offers more than what they've had in the past. So I think that if the game had launched slightly differently and had like 3D World at launch and showed some of its better games, could have had a better launch at least here. If they wouldn't have named it the Wii U, it probably would have helped. I know it confused people, and that could be people's faults as well, but I mean, it also relies on the company to present themselves a little bit better. But the Wii U, like I said, I think if you love Nintendo games like I do, it's an easy buy. But if you compare it to things that like Xbox One and PS4 can do, as well as the games that are like how the games play on them and how much better they look, I don't think any modern gamer is going to be like, I'm going to get the Wii U because I want to play like Call of Duty.
Of course not.
They're
Everybody
not
knows
look at
that
it that way.
Nintendo has abysmal third-party support. It's basically non-existent. You might as well just say that. It's just third-party support don't exist at all. And then I consider Nintendo the only little niche. I don't even compare them to the Xbox and the PS4. That's usually when you hear console wars, you just hear just those two. You don't even hear
those two.
Exactly.
That's exactly, and that's how it should be. And I think that Nintendo needs to realize that and really make really good Nintendo brand games like Mario and Zelda and all that stuff. They just need to focus on that, make them as good as possible, and their fan base will be happy.
Wait.
Focusing.
One thing I want throwing on top of that, not just that. One thing I think Nintendo really ignores that they should really work on is their online infrastructure. That is where the replay value is going to go. And I can tell you that that is one of the main reasons why my Wii U didn't last past Smash Brothers, because I think Mario Kart came out first. Smash Brothers came out later. I played Mario Galaxy back in that generation, but when I was ready to play online, because obviously my friends are not going to come to my house every other day to play each other.
Right, exactly.
Oh my God, the online
years ago.
It's like yeah, exactly. It's like I was playing like on dial-up. Like the connection was just abysmal. The friend list was just X9BYX sends an invite to YXB67. I'm like, what?
Oh
yeah,
no, they have changed that. Wii U now uses like you pick your name and all that kind of stuff, so it has improved. Yeah. It's definitely better. I don't know how it is when you actually play a game online, because I don't have a game you can play online, but let's say that you could play 3D World online or games like Donkey Kong online. It would be a lot better. So I have to agree, that is one thing that they do suffer from. They need to add that multiplayer support. I know that they're more focused on the family kind of games and like a party kind of theme where you had people over and then you all play it. But we're in this generation of we don't do that as much. We do things online. We do things, you know. That's how we do it. That's how it should be.
That's like the new standard where gaming has been headed, and then I felt like Nintendo had the opportunity to take advantage during the GameCube era. They had the actual slot to put in the broadband connectivity piece, and it was just never taken advantage of.
Nope. So that is, yeah, I would say that is definitely. I wouldn't say it's the biggest thing that they suffered from, because well, actually,
third party.
It may be. It may be, but yeah, they definitely needed to have something there.
Yeah, third party just say F you, Nintendo. We're not even developing for you. And then when they do develop for them, they get screwed over. They get worse ports. They don't get DLC.
Yeah.
I don't know what's going on in that department.
Origins thing. Yeah. Even though it's Batman Origins, it's not as big as other things. It's still upsetting for people who like the game, and they're like, well, I bought it for this console, and now I can't get the extras that I wanted. So it does suck. I feel bad, but
pretty much
that's how it goes.
All right, so I guess we're gonna wrap that up. So this has been about an hour and 30 minutes. So I'm gonna effectively chop this up into a two-part dual con. I'm not gonna upload an hour and 32 minutes because I doubt anybody has the attention span for that.
Oh hell no. Even I don't. But yeah, definitely.
All right, so for anybody who would love to know who Albert Johnson is, which I stated earlier during the first half of the podcast, his channel will be in the description below. Check him out. He's going to be uploading videos on a weekly basis, and he's going to have a very highly opinionated things what's going on in the gaming industry. So stay tuned to him. Rate, comment, subscribe, all that good YouTube stuff for him as well. You going to say something?
Oh yeah, no, I was just going to say thanks for listening, everybody. It's been fun. We had some great topics, and I mean, we're only going to have more to come. So
yeah, definitely. This is Jay Silver from SNNTEC, and we're both out of here.
See ya.